If you often feel drained after talking to certain people, if you keep saying yes when you mean no, and if guilt seems to move you faster than your own judgment, this is for you. Because the uncomfortable truth is that most people are not forcing control over you. They are finding the places where you already gave it away. That is why Epictetus matters. He lived as a slave, and he understood something most of us learn only after enough disappointment. You may not control what other people ask of you, but you always have more control over your mind than you think. No one can press your buttons unless you leave them exposed. No one can make you anxious, offended, guilty, or obedient without some level of permission from you. That does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming harder to manipulate. This is the difference between being kind and being available to anyone who wants access to your time, your energy, and your peace. Epictetus believed that freedom begins inside the mind. He taught that people can demand, persuade, or pressure, but they cannot fully rule your judgment unless you surrender it. That is why Stoic wisdom still matters now. It helps you hold your center when other people try to pull you off of it. The core principle is simple. Between what happens and what you choose, there is a space. In that space lives your freedom. You do not need to react instantly, explain everything, or obey every feeling. You only need to remember that your first impulse is not always your wisest answer. The first habit is to pause before you answer. Manipulative people depend on speed. They want the immediate yes, the emotional reaction, the rushed apology, the quick explanation. If you respond on instinct, you usually respond from pressure, not from judgment. The modern translation is simple. Never make your first feeling your final decision. When someone asks for something, do not answer immediately unless it truly needs an immediate answer. Say, let me think about it. Say, I need to check my schedule. That pause protects your freedom. The second habit is to separate kindness from access. Many people think being good means being endlessly available, never disappointing anyone, and never drawing a line. But that is not kindness. That is surrender dressed up as virtue. Real goodness does not require self-erasure. You can be warm and still be unavailable. You can care and still protect your time. You can be generous without being endlessly reachable. When someone repeatedly demands access, you do not need a long speech. A calm boundary is often more powerful than a perfect explanation. The third habit is to stop defending yourself too much. Manipulative people love explanations because explanations create openings. The more you justify, the more they can argue. The more you explain, the more they can pull you into doubt, guilt, and endless negotiation. You do not need a courtroom case for your own boundary. If you cannot do something, if you do not want to do something, or if something does not work for you, a clear no is enough. Calm brevity signals self-respect, and self-respect is difficult to pressure. The fourth habit is to watch the emotional bait. Some people do not ask directly for what they want. They create discomfort until you rush in to fix it. They hint, accuse, withdraw, or act wounded until you surrender your peace just to make the tension stop. A Stoic does not swallow every impression whole. He examines it. Ask yourself what is actually happening here and what is being implied. If someone is trying to make you responsible for their emotions, pause. Care for people, but do not confuse care with control. The fifth habit is to build a life that is less easy to push around. When your life is empty, unstable, or dependent on approval, other people can move you with very little force. But when your standards are clear and your structure is strong, pressure loses much of its power. That means routines that steady you, friends who do not punish honesty, work that gives you structure, and a private standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. It means deciding your line before the conversation begins, so emotional pressure has less room to break through. When you apply these habits, people may not always become nicer, but they do become clearer. The ones who only wanted control begin to lose interest. Not because you became hard, but because you became grounded. Not because you became cold, but because you became difficult to move. If you stay the same, the cost is quiet but heavy. You will keep over-explaining, over-giving, and overreacting to other people's moods. You will keep mistaking guilt for goodness and pressure for loyalty. And little by little, your peace will be spent managing everyone except yourself. Epictetus was not teaching numbness. He was teaching ownership of the mind. You can be kind without being controllable. You can listen without absorbing. You can care without complying. The more you guard your mind, the less anyone can control your life.